King Dynasty's done. That movie's completely being reworked. It's not going to make that release date, so it won't show up for the summer of 2025. So you're going to have Superman Legacy summer 2025. You're going to have the Batman Part 2 near the end of the year in 2025. Those are the pillars. If those two characters are in great shape and they deliver big hits, it's the year of DC.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the NERDGEN Report. I'm your host, Pablo, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Brian Schultz. Brian, I didn't see the picture until yesterday. Because you said it. I don't think you sent me a pic, though.
No, I just texted you. I figured you said it.
Yeah.
I told you.
And Tracy said the same thing, but didn't send me a pic. So I have to go online and look for what everybody's talking about. And Brian, the similarities are fascinating.
Eerie, actually. It's kind of weird.
Right? So, I don't know if I said it to you or Tracy. Listen, man. I'm saying this right now. People are going to forget. Those Henry Cavill fans are going to convert. They're going to convert. And if you don't convert, they're hating. They hate. Even Henry Cavill's gonna be like, damn, man, this dude killed it. He's gonna have to give him his props. This guy is looking the part. James Gunn is not playing, and you already know that he's not playing because he took the job as director when he said he wasn't going to. Have you imagined what sort of Superman he is gonna look like?
Yeah, look, I mean, you can find the image. And like they're deliberately teasing it, doing a good job of it. But he looks jacked. I mean, he looks like a guy who's pretty thin before this started. And there's been a couple other photos that have been sort of teasing like his forearms. You can sort of see like he's been in the gym. This latest shot, like it looks like his arms and shoulders. He's pretty. He looks a lot like Henry Cavill. Like for lack of a better, you can see with this under the hat with the same hair, he looks kind of similar.
Yeah.
But he looks good. He's working hard as you would expect. I think the other thing that's, interesting is we continue to get this filling out of the universe of cast. James Gunn confirming a member of the Authority, the Engineer, has been cast to join this movie, which we kind of knew would be a link with his Authority film. So Maria Gabriella Di Faria will be the Engineer. It's not clear how big the part is, which is sort of similar to everything else. Nathan Fillion as a Green Lantern. You have Rex Mason. You have Hawkgirl. You have Metamorpho. Like these are all confirmed. Most of these, I suspect, will be very cursory mentions. One scene. Hey, we're in a universe. Here's who's in this universe. Mm-hmm. Engineer, that might be more of a part. James Gunn went out of his way to kind of welcome her to the DC universe. She might have something of a part because they need to launch into the Authority movie that comes after this. So,
what do you think of the cast of her as the Engineer?
Talent. I mean, I think
it is what
talent. I mean, that's the thing. It's like talent without baggage. See, I like some of these because like. James Gunn was part of the Marvel machine. It reminds me of some of the things that made Marvel great was when they discovered people who could become the idea of of the story they wanted to tell, rather than how many Oscar nominations or how big their social media following was before they got cast. Like, I think it's just important. You're looking for people who can inhabit the part. If they do that, people will show up. People will show up for a great Superman movie. They're not going to show up just because you've got 5 people with 13 Oscar nominations. Like, you might have a little bit of that at some point, but you don't need it for this movie to work. And I think it's better that we don't have like preconceived notions of what these characters are or what these actors are before they take on these roles. I mean, the closest for me is Rachel Brosnahan, and it happens to be her performance in Maisel, I think, actually translates somewhat to a great Lois Lane. So I actually think it works. But,
what's the name of that movie again?
It's an Amazon series, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, where she's nominated for several Emmys. But like, you just see her physically in that show, which is kind of a period piece. And you're kind of like, yeah, I see it. I see Lois. I see where she could lateral into that. But everyone else, like Cornsweet, he doesn't have a persona.
Mm-hmm.
Like so like there's no typecasting. I think it's great. I'm excited.
Yeah.
We did get confirmation from James Gunn this movie's going to come out on time, which I think is relevant. So that July 2025, he still says they can hit it even with the strike just ending.
He's setting it up to set his movie apart from anything else out there. But to have no competition, because perhaps there aren't any other movies that are ready to release around that time to give it competition. You'll probably have your independent, those movies that other people will probably go out to see because they don't want to see a superhero movie. So you'll have those always, but in terms of true box office competition for Superman Legacy, James Gunn is ready to show out, and the excitement, Brian, when that trailer hits will be on the level of the Batman when we first saw that, perhaps even more, Brian, dare I say.
I think it's more just because James Gunn is really, the tactics here are important. He has set up the potential for a year of DC.
Yeah.
They basically took 2024 off, which was a good move. They've got Joker, a sort of one-off established property, which is going for it with this musical, but in some ways doesn't really have a large necessarily, like it can only help, right? It probably will make money. It probably will draw a lot of attention. If it happens to be a train wreck, it's not like it's connected to anything.
Yeah.
But by the time Superman Legacy hits, they will have a solid 18-month clearance from the end of Aquaman 2 to kind of say, like, you haven't seen anything yet. You haven't seen anything new that we're going to do. And look, Kang Dynasty hasn't even shown up for the fight. We talked about it before. We were back in Superman Legacy opposite Kang Dynasty as it was. Kang Dynasty's done. That movie's completely being reworked. It's not going to make that release date. So it won't show up for the summer of 2025. So you're going to have Superman Legacy, summer of 2025. You're going to have the Batman Part 2, the end of the year in 2025. Those are the pillars. If those two characters are in great shape and they deliver big hits, it's the year of DC.
It'll be a turning point, certainly.
I think
will be the talk of the town.
I think it has. I don't think it'll be box office will be this high, but I think the analogy is Top Gun Maverick. I think it has that kind of potential in the sense
Superman Legacy.
Yes, in the sense of part of what I think Maverick grabbed in people was this nostalgia for a style of movie making, a feel of being in the theater, what you thought when you left the theater, that kind of had gone away from a lot of blockbusters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this movie has that potential. With the amount of stink that's on the superhero genre right now, if you get an all-American story that echoes, doesn't copy, but echoes Christopher Reeve's era Superman, and then gives you this sort of creative, visually stunning, interesting character type of movie, I think critics eat it up, and I think word of mouth is incredibly strong, and people are like, man, this is just cleansing my palate from all the mess of the last few years.
Yes. There was something key, Brian, and I don't know if you have anything else to say after this, but there was something key about how they described this Superman movie will be, and sort of what they're aiming at. And it was something to the effect of where kindness is looked at as old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
Yeah.
That to me, Brian, I am looking forward to feeling when I see that movie.
Yeah, it's the scene from Superman the movie where he saves the cat out of the tree.
Yeah.
It's that touch where he talks to that young girl who's just like looking up at him.
Mm-hmm.
That's Superman in a nutshell. Like what makes the character kind of at simultaneously a little bit hokey, but so beloved and so inspirational.
You know what sort of plot point I'm looking forward to seeing, Brian? I'm looking forward to seeing the relationship between Lois and Superman, but not in the sense of the possible romantic relationship that they have. We can certainly see the connection that they have, right? But I would love to see a sort of talk Superman gives Lois in saying to her that this is an impossible relationship, right? Given the fact, you've seen the commercials, every 10 seconds this is happening, every 2 seconds this is happening, every one, whatever, right? Superman, this is Superman. He can hear, see, he's hearing this. He has to be able to tell Lois, how can I have a relationship when all this around me is going on? How can I focus on you? You know what I'm saying? Him wanting to.
Yeah.
Him wanting to.
You know, in
that's
fairness,
that's to me, that's interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a great point, because in fairness to Superman Returns, it's actually one of the better lines from that movie where Brandon Routh says to Kate Bosworth, he says, you wrote that the world doesn't need a savior, but every day I hear people crying out for one. Like, it's actually one of the better lines in that movie.
Yes,
and it does capture a piece of what Superman's job, how difficult it really is. I know this character has like had challenges, but I think everything I look at, the timing is right. I think it's set up for this tone, this style. If James Gunn hits it, and he has been critically acclaimed, like he's been pretty reliable with critics. Yeah. I think this movie could be something.
Yes, I agree with you on all those points. He's been pretty reliable, but there have been moments, obviously, and you know, Brian, you can agree on some of that some of the humor in his movies don't really resonate with me and with perhaps many others, and I just don't want to waste time when I'm watching this film. I don't want to have filler 2 minutes of nonsense going on, of conversations that don't go anywhere. I don't know. I just don't want to waste time with this film. I want this movie to be everything that it needs to be, I think. And I think he's trying to deliver that.
Yeah, and like he has intimated, look, you can't write this movie the way you would write Guardians, right? So this is the test of a director's range. We talk about an actor's range, but this is the test of a director's range. A truly great director can flex across genres. I mean, that's one of the talents that's required. And so, you know, James Gunn's visual skill is not in question. What is in question is how he applies his visual skill to Superman to make it look as compelling as it was appropriate in some of the Guardians sequences, right? Those were great sequences for the Guardians. Even the Suicide Squad, there's a couple of great sequences for the Suicide Squad. Can he find that for Superman?
I am hoping for, and I'm sure everyone else is hoping for, a Superman. And you said it, Brian, and you I think you nailed it with the Top Gun reference, in that everybody went to go see this movie, young and old. Those who remember the original Top Gun and those who remember the original Christopher Reeve film are going to go see this film, because James Gunn, I think, is giving us that feeling that, or is giving us that nostalgia feeling. Because when you see that Superman movie, I get that same feeling.
Sure. Even now. I mean, even as flawed as The Flash turned out to be, I still felt something when I saw Christopher Reeve drifting onto the big screen one more time. I'm sorry. Like, it just, you feel it.
Yeah.
You feel it.
Yeah. Let us know in the comment section below what you guys think of the Superman movie news, with how Mr. David Cornsweet is looking to be or represent the character of Superman. I'm telling you, people are going to be like, Henry who? That's what they're going to say. They're going to say, they're going to be like, oh yeah, Henry Cavill, yeah, that guy. They're going to remember him, but they're not going to remember him like Henry Cavill was. No, that's going to be over after this movie. That's on the comment section.
Although Henry Cavill, I know he left The Witcher, but Henry Cavill can keep his Witcher haircut and just go play Prince Lothar in our Voltron movie. I'm good with that.
Another casting. There's your. I'm telling you, man. We got $1 billion ideas.
We got
on the
Hagar,
NERDGEN
we got
Report.
Lotor.
Now we gotta find. Every once in a while we gotta see if by the end of next year we got our cast for Voltron. But let us know in the comment section below what you guys think, and we'll see you next time on the NERDGEN Report.
The show goes on!